Compliments of the season to you and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I am Precious Chukudi. Begin with the front pages of the paper, starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with storm in Senate over Buhari's 23.7 trillion naira ways and means. The writer says forced into executive session to avoid fisticuffs, bow to pressure, step down Buhari's request for lack of detail. We can see a photo story showing over of Benin at Igwe Festival. ATIKU PDP mulls disciplinary action against G5 governors. On page 27, we have 2023 National Assembly passes the 21.8 trillion naira budget, adds 1.3 trillion naira. Headers attack worsening humanitarian crisis. That's coming from BENUE government. Kidnapping. Kaduna police rescued 206 victims, kills 21 bandits in 2022. Stories above, we have 2022, year of Atikulate, Emilokan, Obidients. Police arrest army deserters over death of Gulag, others in Imo. Obiozo, Ohaneze Ndigbo, president, dies at 80. Lastly, on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, we have banks' total assets slides 19% to 63 trillion naira in 9 months. Let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. And the Guardian is leading with Person of the Year 2022, Russo-Ukrainian War, we are all victims. Stories below, Calabar Carnival tragedy. Death toll now 8, relatives narrate ordeal. Uproar as lawmakers halt Buhari's 22.7 trillion CBN overdraft. OK's 21.8 trillion naira 2023 budget. Afenifere task NICOM on 200% hike in insurance fee. Wike killed Igbo presidency, says Ohaneze youths. Moving on, let's take a look at The Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with 2023 Wike Makinde orders for close support for Atiku. The writer says G5 governors reject peace offer from South-South leaders. Rep tackle ASU president over claim on Gbajabi Amila. National Assembly raises budget 2023 by 1.32 trillion naira. Ohaneze President Obiozo dies at 80. Uzodima others mourn. Buhari's Osibajo beaches son in Tinubu's campaign. IG orders suspension of killer ASP Vandi. The writer says police need reform. New Naira notes Senate urges CBN to shift deadline to June 30th. All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with PDP threatens action as G5 governors meet Tinubu in UK. The writer says APC presidential candidate intensifies lobby. Obi banks on Obasanjo backing. It is too late in the day to go back to ATIKU. Reconciliation failed, says a source. Governors on vacation, they risk being disciplined for anti-party activities. That's coming from PDP. Calabar death. Cross River PDP lampoons Ayade for going ahead with carnival. Rep demand justice for lawyer slain by policeman. Car explosion kills 7 Lagos residents heading for revival. On page 6, deserters trained 1,000 IPOB fighters, killed Gulag. That's coming from the police. Stories above, we have defense, health gets lion's share. National Assembly passes a 21.8 trillion naira budget. Senate rejects a Buhari's request to restructure 22 trillion naira CBN loan. Lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, NLC gives Buhari condition for new minimum wage. And that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers this morning. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. And joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Mr. Oludare Mayowa. He is the publisher of Global Financial Digest. Good morning, he says. Good to have you join me this morning.
Good morning, completely at the season.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here today.
Yeah. All right, let's delve into the stories that we have in front of us. And of course, we're looking at yesterday, the Senate was in disarray for several hours and over how to restructure the payment of 23.7 trillion naira ways and means secured from CBN in the last 10 years. And from what we understand by what ways and means is that there are loans and or advances by the CBN to the federal government to enable them cater for, short-term or emergency finances. What do you think about this?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, ways and means are mainly making sure for printing of naira note for government to spend for to cover their deficits, and this has only been going on over time. Then government in the CBN is a banker to the government, so government asks for money and CBN go print new naira note for them to spend, and this is part of the what to cause inflation in the system. That they are too, increase the volume of cash in the system and increase put pressure on foreign exchange and price in the system. Basically, what the federal government want to do, the president want to do with the money about 22.7 trillion is to securitize or turn it to a bond where it can be sold on the domestic debt market for investor to buy and so that it can rather than just keep it there and not paying back and affecting the asset of the CBN. That's exactly what the president want to do. But I think what the Senate are kicking again is that the entire loan, so to say, like overdraft to federal government is illegal because all the money earned or appropriate must be appropriated by the National Assembly. But all this money are not part of the budget sent to the National Assembly for approval. So it is out of budget spending by government to fund projects and the rest. And the Senate wants the federal government to be accountable to them. And then I think that's the reason why Opla was so high in the Senate yesterday. And they actually want to quote section of CBN Act and the Nigerian Constitution to back their position. And I think for me, the National Assembly or the Senate are in the right direction. But my fear is that they may not be able to stand their ground at the end of the day, and the president will have his way. But I think there is a need for the Senate to send a signal to government that enough of this behind the counters spending or printing new naira note to spend for government. For me, that's where I look at it.
There are talks that the federal government's excessive borrowing from the CBN can have a adverse effect on CBN's monetary policy and also harm domestic prices and exchange rates. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, that's what I explained initially. I explained earlier. When government print new naira notes, is a printing the money to spend. It devalue the naira itself because more money is available for people to go to the foreign exchange market to buy dollars. And the more pressure you have on it, the more demand you have, and the lower inflow of dollars in the market, the more the naira value will depreciate against the foreign currency. And again, you talk about the pressure on the price mechanism. The more money you have, the more the more money chasing the fuel goods, the more inflation keep going up. So it affects the ability of CBN to control the volume of cash in the system to reduce liquidity in the system so that they can curb inflation. And that's why we are seeing high inflation today going overboard. And because we are not able to manage our finances, our fiscal policy enough to support the monetary policy of government. Because as much as CBN continue to print new naira note for government to spend, we continue to have a huge liquidity in the system that the cost push inflation in the system, and people will be suffering because price of goods will be going up and inflation will be rising, and there's no increase in wages. So these are the mechanisms. It's a very technical thing, but I think the Senate has slept on their right over the time. They are aware of this policy. They are aware of this system going on. Government borrowing money, overdraft from CBN printing new naira note for government to spend, and they are not be able to do anything all along the line. It is not at this point that they ought to act. They ought to have acted long time ago to curb the excesses of the government, because as CBN they cannot reject the check of the federal government whenever it comes to them, because they are backed by the government and they are owned by the federal government. So, but the CBN could have probably find a middle course of approach to actually curb these excesses of government, of asking CBN to print money for them to spend. That would have ended this imbroglio long time ago, but it's never too late.
All right, let's move on and talk about the G5 governors. And of course, as it looks right now, it's like there is no stopping these governors, as they've also declared that they intend to announce who their presidential candidate is. What do you think about this?
Yeah, from Abilisho, the G5 has we have no direction of where they are going. They are never going to support Atiku Abubakar, whether they make overture to them or not. For me, for a student of politics, we understand the play, the interplay of forces going on, and they were never going to support Atiku aspiration. Because if Atiku has picked Wiki as his deputy, perhaps all these things will have been fizzled out all along. But the play, of course, in politics, the gambit is very high, and you can be liking this to 2015 to when is it G6 now? I don't know how many of them that led the PDP to join to team up with the APC to defeat Jonathan then, and it's the same it's the same play in circle back again against PDP, and probably like Atiku is he didn't pay back in his own coin. He led the PDP then to because he won the government. The president to stay in the north, to return back to the north, and now the southern people are coming out to say, "Look, we want the president to stay in the south." They have been the advocates. Even if they are removed IU, it might be very difficult for them to reconcile PDP. For me, is their own way, but is it playing a dangerous game for them in either support Atiku or support other person. The issue is that it's going to cause a major upset for Atiku camp, because five sitting governors, not supporting their party candidate. It's going to cause a major upset for Atiku aspiration, and definitely if they shifted to any candidate, it will enhance the chance of that candidate to win the election. That's what we are seeing at play now.
As a party, they've been unable to keep their house together. You mentioned the fact that if they continue like this, it might be hard for them. But what else again do you foresee that might happen in the party with what exactly is going on?
Yeah, it is very difficult for years. They want to discipline them and say at the party, but how do you discipline a three-sitting government who has candidates contesting for concerning PDP positions? The government, in Rivers State, for example, they have a candidate, a governorship candidate that contests on the PDP. In Oyo State, for example, Makinde is contesting under PDP, and in Abia we had a governorship candidate contesting under the PDP, and on and on like that. So it is very difficult for PDP to discipline this governor, and I see PDP in a dilemma, so to say, because if they don't discipline these governors for party activities, you send the wrong signal to other people within the party that you can get away with anti-party activities. But if they try to discipline the five governors, it will eventually damage the party the more. So I'm sure they are in dilemma and what to do, and they have to tread very delicately and very carefully in order to take the wrong decision that will completely upset the apple cart for them.
All right, so let's move ahead and talk about this one. Now, according to reports by Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, they're saying that the increasing spate of attack on Benue communities by armed herdsmen is worsening the humanitarian crisis in the state. I'd like you to share your own opinion on this one.
Unfortunately, that's one of the albatross that we follow President Buhari to his wherever he goes, whether to Daura or to his grave. He has failed woefully in that aspect of curtailing the herdsmen's rampage across the nation. And Benue has happened to be the most hit, mainly because herdsmen want access to Benue rivers to rear their cattle. And don't forget that the Fulani are a major tribe that engage in cattle rearing. And people in Benue see that because of the body language of the president, that he shows some level of support, tacit support for the herdsmen, and that's emboldening them to do all of this. And the government has not been able to do anything but stay them. But each time they call on the government or federal government to step in, they are seeing from the ethic point of view, the government is like President Buhari sending the army to kill its own people, and that's what is causing the anger in some of those communities. And so unfortunate that we have a president that could not live above his ethnic group to deal decisively with this issue. It has become so much a terrible destruction in the Benue throat. And the people will never forget the Muhammad Buhari government for the menace, for the evil the Israel has committed in their land, in the process of taking over their land for their own cattle, and the failure of the government to actually arrest the situation.
All right, before we go, let's talk about the late Bolanle Rahim. And of course, you must have heard of the unfortunate incident that happened on Sunday. People keep talking about the fact that the police needs to be reformed. I'd like you to share your own opinion on this case.
It's so unfortunate, really. You know, we remember the ESAS protest in 2020 and how it was ended. And all the promises made by the president that they are going to reform the police, they are going to do that. And what we are seeing today is a repeat of what led to ESAS protest. There's nothing has changed about the police. Nothing has changed so far. In that same axis, but we are learning that even in this December, the police from the same station has killed a young man about late 12th of this month, you know. And there was no noise made about it. They were embodied to do this thing. I'm sure the officer that killed this lady was probably drunk. Some years back, I experienced that. I almost got killed too. You know, encountering the police in around 7 p.m. I was driving with my daughter at the back, you know, and the guy was actually harassing me, was drunk, and ASP as well in my Alausa police station. I had to go to the Alausa police station to report him to the DPO. And the guy met me in the DPO's office and noticed that I was the same person. He was cocking a gun, even the president of the DPO, to shoot me. You know, we need to do so much about the police, their character, their mental health, and their training. And until we do that, thousands of Nigerians are being killed all the time across the nation. Is this because we know about this one? And because of social media, there are many people that are being killed in Warri, in all over the country. And the yearly better we do something, reform the system, we may see experience another EndSARS protest in this country that may be very worse than what we experienced in 2020.
All right, so let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. before we go. Mrs. is speaking. She says, I wonder why people have extramarital affairs with their wedding rings on. And Mr. says, because, my dear, wedding ring is not a tracking device.
What a very, very powerful response to that one. Because, it's a common thing. I like the cartoonist really. He uses it temporary things to actually speak to people, and I'm sure people learn daily from the conversation between Mr. and Mrs. And very comical, very interesting, and a very way of ending the program this morning.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Udari Mayowa. He is the publisher of Global Financial Digest. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning. Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you for having me today.
Showing on your screen. Also, you can go to our website www.vanguardindia.com to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.